Expanding Earth and tectonic plates. Tectonic plates may have formed in a vastly different process than we believed. It seems that the Earth at one point was a Pangea because of the fact that all the continents seemed to be fitting together, and something happened that made it grow. And these pieces of the puzzle seem to somehow break apart. Now, how did the Earth's tectonic plates form? You'd think this would be an easy question to answer, considering we're now trying to nail down the specifics of when it happened, and whether there's tectonic activity on the moon as well. But our knowledge on how this planetary mechanism came to be is surprisingly scant. Researchers from China, Hong Kong, and the United States have now put forward a new hypothesis, one that on face value looks incredibly similar to an idea discredited decades ago. Now it deserves to be revisited. Tectonic plates that have been shuffling around our planet's surface anywhere from 3.3 to 4.4 billion years ago, depending on who you ask. But a few billion years of tectonic movement and crust recycling has meant it's quite difficult to work out how Earth came to have tectonic plates in the first place. A couple of years ago, researchers developed a model showing that tectonic plates first formed in a process similar to how we've come to have continued to shift, with some parts of Earth's crust taking a dive beneath others and starting a chain reaction of jostling pieces of crust that lasted millennia. But the new research presents a model that shows something quite different. The research team proposes that billions of years ago, Earth's recently formed shell became hot, which caused an expansion of the shell, leading to a fracture that resulted in what we now know as tectonic plates. And we use 3D spherical shell models to demonstrate a self-organized fracture mechanism, the team says, analogous to thermal expansion-driven lithospheric uplift. And the expanding Earth hypothesis is not a new idea. In the 1800s, an expanding Earth was proposed to explain how geographical features like mountains may have formed, but it was discredited when we discovered plate tectonics. But the new scenario is not quite the same as the one put forth during Charles Darwin's era. The crucial difference comes down to where Earth blew off steam all those years ago. The answer lies in consideration of major heat loss mechanisms that could have occurred during Earth's early periods. This is what University of Hong Kong planetary scientist Alexander Webb said. If volcanic advection carrying hot material from the depth of the surface was a major mode of early heat loss, that changes everything. It boils down to whether Earth's heat loss occurred by conduction, radiation equally across the planet, and over a long period of time, or if volcanoes spewed lava and heat out from inside the planet onto the surface where it cooled. This buildup of cooled material would have eventually sunk and cooled the lithosphere, slowing down the volcanoes along with Earth's overall cooling. In turn, this would have trapped the planet's inner heat, which expanded the crust, causing it to crack and form tectonic plates. Our numerical experiments show that the polygon fissures could develop on Earth's surface in response to shallow lithospheric processes with triple junctions and byproducts of the fractures. And the team says the rapid development of the fracture network in each experiment occurs around 1 kilometer total expansion and takes 5 million years. So it's important to note that this study is just one hypothesis. We're still a long way off from understanding what happened on ancient Earth to result in tectonic plates. But with more evidence, this hypothesis could be an important pair of working out our planet's unique features. This was published on Nature Communications. It's on Science Alert. Now, concerning the expanding Earth hypothesis, asserting that the position of relative movements of continents is at least partially due to the volume of Earth increasing. Conversely, geophysical global cooling has a hypothesis that various features could be explained by Earth contracting. Although this was suggested historically, since the recognition of plate tectonics in the 1970s, scientific consensus has rejected any significant expansion or contraction of the Earth. Now, I want to go into the mass addition. In 1888, Ivan Osipovich Yarkovsky suggested that some of the ether is absorbed, some sort of ether is absorbed within the Earth and transformed into new chemical elements, forcing the celestial bodies to expand. This was connected with his mechanical expansion of gravitation. Also, the thesis of Otto Hilgenberg and Nikola Tesla were based on absorption and transformation of ether energy into normal matter. This is also what the ancient Greeks thought. They believed that ether is throughout the whole of the universe, that the universe is not empty with an empty void or vacuum, that there's electromagnetic forces in ether connecting everything like a plasma. And this is exactly what Yarkovsky believed. Also, Nikola Tesla believed. And also, we know that when Albert Einstein passed away, they found the book of Yarkovsky on his desk. He was reading it over and over again. Now, Yarkovsky was a Polish civil engineer born from a Polish family, working for a Russian railway company, and was obscure in his own time. Beginning in the 1970s, long after his death, his work on the effects of thermal radiation on small objects in the solar system became very, very well known. So, the Yarkovsky, we know that the Yarkovsky is that what we know about the Yarkovsky effect on asteroids when the sun heats them and they also change trajectory and they spin on their axis? Is that the same guy? Now, after initial supporting continental drift, the late Australian geologist Warren Carey advocated expansion for the 1950s before the development of tectonics provided the general accepted explanation of the movement of the continents. He demonstrated that subduction and other events could not balance the seafloor spreading at oceanic ridges and piling yet unresolved paradoxes that continue to plague plate tectonics. Starting in 1956, he proposed some sort of mass increase in the planets and said that a final solution to the problem is only possible in a cosmological perspective in connection with the expansion of the universe. Bruce Heezen initially interpreted his work on the mid-Atlantic ridge as supporting Warren Carey's expanding Earth theory, but later withdrew his support, finally convinced by the data and analysis of his assistant Mary Tharp. And remaining proponents after the 1970s, like the Australian geologist James Maxlow, are mainly inspired by Carey's ideas. In the last few decades, no credible mechanism of action has been proposed for this addition of new mass, and there's no credible evidence for new mass having been added in the past. The increased gravity of Earth would have altered the orbits of the celestial objects in our solar system, obviously, including the Moon's orbit and Earth's own orbit. Proponents have no adequate explanation to address this problem. This is a big obstacle for acceptance of the theory by other geologists. It's a well-known fact that the Earth is constantly acquiring mass through an accumulation of rocks and dust from space, as are other planetary bodies in our system. According to NASA, every day about 100 tons of meteoroids, fragments of dust and gravel, and sometimes even big rocks enter our Earth's atmosphere. So our mass and weight is, of course, growing, so the gravity is growing. Now, this is another shocking theory, a new one from Marvin Herndon from 2005-2013, formation from a gas giant. He says his theory is that the Earth originated in its protoplanetary stage from a Jupiter-like gas giant. During development phases of the young sun, which resembled to those of the T Tauri star, a dense atmosphere of gas giant was stripped off by infrared eruptions from the sun. The remnant was a rocky planet. Due to the loss of pressure from its atmosphere, would have begun a progressive decompression. Herndon regards the energy released due to the lack of compression as the primary energy source for geotectonic activity, to which some energy from radioactive decomposition processes was added, and he calls the resulting changes in the course of Earth's history by the name of his theory, whole Earth decompression dynamics. He considered the seafloor spreading at divergent plate boundaries as an effect of it. and in his opinion, mantle convection, used as concept in the theory of plate tectonics, is a physical impossibility. His theory includes the effect of solar wind and geomagnetic storms as a cause for the reversal of Earth's magnetic field. The question of mass increase is not addressed. So can this be why the Earth is losing its magnetic field now or goes into reversed magnetic fields? This is fascinating. It's a new theory of Earth forming from a gas giant and that the sea floor spreading and divergent plates, this is not possible, he says. The theory of plate tectonics is physically impossible. Tell me what you think. This is the latest news on Wikipedia. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.